Sophie and I have been married 2 years now. She's 30, a high school English teacher. I'm 32, a mechanic. We grew up a few blocks apart. She was the brainy girl with a book always in her hand, correcting teachers and winning spelling bees. I was the kid fixing up bikes in his dad's garage, covered in oil, barely scraping through math. We were never close back then, but I always noticed her. Everyone did. Life took us separate ways after high school. She went off to college. I stayed behind, got to work, built something solid with my hands. I didn't expect to see her again. But one day I'm grabbing a six-pack at the store, and there she is, by the cereal aisle, looking exactly like I remembered, but sharper, more sure of herself. She smiled at me first, like nothing had changed. We started seeing each other after that. Nothing dramatic, just coffee, long drives, Sunday mornings with pancakes, and old music playing too low. I asked her to marry me a year later. No big production. I just said it while we were folding laundry. She said yes without looking up. It felt like home. I've always felt like I was a little out of her league. She's sharp, reads 4 books a month, keeps conversations moving with people twice her age. Me? I'm a good guy. I work hard, I show up. But I've never been the one who turns heads in a room. Still, she picked me. And that meant everything. We made one promise early on. We don't yell. Doesn't matter what it is. We don't raise voices. Don't slam doors. We talk it out. Quietly, if we can. And that rule has kept us steady, even when things got rough. The rough part started when we decided we wanted a family. At first, it was just nothing. Month after month, like clockwork. Every test was negative. After a year, we started worrying. After 2, we were just tired. Tired of counting days, tired of well-meaning advice, tired of hearing people say, just relax and it'll happen. Sophie tried to stay calm, but I saw how it ate at her. She blamed herself quietly, started saying things like, maybe it's just not meant to be, or maybe I'm the problem. I hated hearing that. I kept telling her, we'll figure it out. I don't care how long it takes. One night, not long after another negative test, Sophie came to me with her laptop open. There was a page pulled up from some sleek-looking clinic. Not local, definitely not covered by insurance. She sat on the edge of the bed like she didn't know how to begin. They're doing clinical trials, she said. Well, kind of. It's experimental. Gene-based hormone therapy. They customize everything to your body, tailor supplements, predict your ovulation windows. It's next-level stuff. I looked at the screen. There were testimonials, glowing reviews, success stories that felt like they were talking straight to people like us. She hesitated, then said, they need an initial payment to get started, just $20,000. I know it's a lot. I wouldn't ask if I didn't think it could work. 20 grand. My chest tightened. That wasn't just a stretch. It was a leap. But I looked at her eyes, the way she couldn't quite meet mine. She wanted this so badly. So did I. Okay, I said. We'll find a way. That was the night I called Dale and took every painting job he had for the next 3 months. Nights, weekends, rain or shine. I'd leave the shop at 5, get to the site by 6, climb up scaffolding with a thermos of black coffee in my hand and work until midnight. Come home, shower in silence, crash on the couch, then do it all again. We got the treatment started. Blood work, appointments, pills that had to be taken at precise hours. I was proud of her. We were doing this together. 3 months in, she came to me again. Quiet voice, same nervous glance. They say I'm responding well, she said. But there's another stage. A better hormone blend. It boosts the chances. It's another 20. I didn't say anything right away. Just ran a hand through my hair and nodded slowly. You sure? I asked. I wouldn't ask if I wasn't. That second 20 hit harder. I sold some old gear, cut out everything that wasn't a bill or food, pushed harder on the weekends. Some days I could barely keep my eyes open behind the wheel. But I kept telling myself, for the baby. She smiled more after that. Let herself imagine again. Started saying things like, when the baby comes, instead of if. Then 2 months later came the third ask. They just added a newer protocol. It's optional, but the results have been incredible, she told me, not meeting my eyes. It's the final round. I promise. It's 20. I just sat there. I stared at the floor for a while, and then I nodded. Because what else could I do? I loved her. I wanted this family. I wanted to believe this was the thing that would finally work. We spent $60,000 trying to get pregnant. And then, finally, one morning, She came into the kitchen holding the test in both hands, her face completely still. She didn't speak, just handed it to me. 2 pink lines. I stared at it, then at her. "You're sure?" She nodded, and I broke. Just stood there in the middle of the kitchen with tears in my eyes. I just kept saying, "You did it! We did it!" over and over. From that moment on, I didn't let her lift a finger. I made all the meals, drove her to every appointment, bought 3 copies of What to Expect. I spoke to the bump every night, told our boy about the world waiting for him. When she said she was tired and wanted to leave work early in her pregnancy, I didn't hesitate. "Quit," I told her. "You take care of you. I'll take care of the rest." I meant it. In the 6th month of the pregnancy, I was cleaning up after dinner while Sophie has fallen asleep on the couch, some documentary playing on low volume. Her laptop was open on the coffee table, screen still lit up. I don't know what made me glance at it. Maybe instinct. Maybe God. The window was open to a chat, messages between her and someone named Simon. At first, I didn't understand what I was reading. "How's my baby today? Still kicking like crazy?" "He's quiet today," she'd replied. "But he's getting big, I can tell." My stomach turned. "I hope your husband's taking care of you." "Yeah, trying." I scrolled further. There were photos, messages, compliments, conversations about her body, her pregnancy, plans for after. My hands started shaking. I opened a new tab, searched his name from her Instagram DMs. Simon. Full name, Dr. Simon Hayworth, a blue check, science awards, TED Talks, the perfect jawline, the kind of man she used to joke about never meeting in real life. He knew she was married. He asked if I was taking good care of her. I sat there staring at the screen, heart pounding like it was going to crack my ribs. I looked at Sophie asleep on the couch, hand on her belly, my entire world in that one image, except it wasn't mine anymore. I didn't yell. I didn't even wake her. I just grabbed my keys and walked out. I drove straight to Jared's place, old buddy from the shop. I didn't want to talk to Sophie. Didn't want her waking up and calling, asking where I was, crying, or pretending nothing was wrong. So I sent a quick text. "Something urgent came up at work. I'll be home tomorrow." Jared is one of the few who doesn't ask stupid questions when you show up at his door after dark with that look on your face. He opened the door, didn't say a word, just nodded, got out a spare blanket, and made up the couch. Then he went straight back to his room and shut the door. I lay there staring at the ceiling for hours. I think I dozed off around 4 a.m., if at all. The next morning, I dropped Sophie a 1-line update, still slammed. Might be out past tonight. Then I got to work. I created a burner Instagram account and started digging. I didn't have to search long. Simon wasn't exactly discreet. His public profile was full of staged conference photos, self-praise, followers kissing his A in every comment. He had a clean, curated life, like his whole personality was made in a lab. Then I found her. Gabby Hayworth, wife, psychologist, 2 kids. I recognized one of them from a photo Sophie had liked 6 months back. I didn't realize it then, but she'd been following his family too. I didn't want to go to her house. Didn't want to traumatize her kids or catch her off guard in her pajamas. I looked up the name of the clinic where she worked, found her on the Our Team page. Dr. Gabrielle Hayworth, PsyD, clinical psychologist, anxiety, couples therapy, post-traumatic healing. I called and said I was a former client trying to get in touch with her about something urgent. The receptionist gave me a direct line. I left a voicemail. She called me back about an hour later. Her voice was polite, but guarded. "This is Dr. Hayworth." "Yeah, hi, my name's Colin. Sorry to bother you. I know this is personal and probably way out of left field, but I need to talk to you. It's about your husband." Silence. "My husband?" she asked carefully. "I have something I think you need to see." Another pause, deeper this time. I could hear the shift in her tone when she spoke again. "What kind of something?" "Screenshots, messages, from a woman he's been involved with. I'm not looking for drama. I just thought you deserved the truth." "You're saying my husband is having an affair?" "I'm saying I have proof that might answer some questions you've probably already been asking." She was quiet again, just breathing. Then, finally, "I have a lunch break at noon, 30 minutes. If you're not crazy, meet me at my office. I'll buzz you in." "Fair enough." She hung up without saying goodbye. I pulled into the office complex around noon. Her practice was tucked in among dentists and chiropractors, 2nd floor of a bland gray building. I sat in my truck for 10 minutes before going in. My palms were sweating. She met me in the front lobby, mid-30s, blonde hair tied up in a rushed bun, Professional looking, but tired. Real tired. Her voice was calm but cautious. "You're calling?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Thanks for meeting me." She led me into her office. Warm colors, soft lighting, a couch no one wants to cry on but probably has. She shut the door gently behind us. "What's this about?" she asked, still polite, still clinical. I pulled out the manila envelope and handed it to her. She opened it slowly. Photos, screenshots, the chat thread between Sophie and Simon. Messages like, "How's my baby doing today? He kicks when he hears your voice. Hope your husband's taking good care of you." "Yeah, trying." She didn't react at first, just stared. Then one hand went up to her mouth. The other clutched the back of the chair. "Wait," she said, "she's pregnant?" "6 months," I said. Gabby sat down hard, like her legs gave out. "I think she's one of his patients. I always knew this day would come." That one day, it'd be one of his patients. She kept reading, her face pale. She shook her head like she was trying to reset her brain. She looked up at me, eyes sharp now, controlled. "What do we do?" "We make them answer for it," I said. She nodded. "I want the truth, all of it." I got home around 10. Sophie was on the couch with a heating pad, flipping through a magazine. She looked up and smiled like nothing had changed. I dropped my keys on the counter and stood there, watching her. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Oh, we need to talk." Her smile faded. "What's going on?" "I want a paternity test." She blinked, laughed a little, like I'd told a dumb joke. "Wait, what?" "I'm not playing, Sophie." "Are you serious right now?" "Colin, come on, that's insane." "Do you know a guy named Simon?" I asked. She froze. Just like that, mouth half open, not even trying to fake it. "I saw your messages. All of them." "Why the hell were you—" she started, voice rising. "Don't," I said. "Don't flip it on me." She tried to stand up, then sat down again. "I never slept with him." I pulled out the printed screenshots and dropped them on the coffee table. "He called the baby his." She stared at them, then at me. "You went through my laptop," she said, voice cracking. "After everything I did to take care of you? After I worked 2 jobs, gave you everything I had so we could have this kid, and you repay me by getting knocked up by someone else?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "It's not like that. I didn't cheat. You expect me to believe that?" "I used a donor," she said suddenly. "It was a medical thing. I didn't sleep with him. Colin, I didn't think I could get pregnant with you. We tried for so long." "You're telling me you used a donor?" I said slowly, "without talking to me?" She nodded fast. "I didn't want to hurt you. I just wanted a baby, Colin." "If it was anonymous, how the hell did you know the donor was Simon?" She paused, then said, "He was my gynecologist. He offered. Said he had banked material. He was smart, healthy. It just made sense. He had the right genes." I stepped back like she'd hit me. "You did this behind my back. Took my money. Let me believe it was ours. I didn't know how to tell you." "You knew, Sophie. You just didn't care." I turned and walked for the door. She jumped up, followed me, grabbing at my arm. "Please, Colin, stop. Don't walk away. Don't leave me like this." I walked out without saying a word. That night, Jared made up the couch for me again. The next day, we went together to the clinic for the paternity test. I didn't say a word to her the entire time. Not in the car, not in the waiting room, not even when they called her name. I left her at the hospital 2 days later after the test came back. I wasn't the father. Sophie crumpled to the floor. She looked up at me, eyes wide, panicked. No, this isn't right," she said, shaking her head. There's been a mistake. It's wrong." I stood still, didn't move. "Colin, say something, please. They messed it up. We can redo it. I swear we can fix this." Still, I said nothing. She started crying hard, her voice cracking. "I didn't sleep with him, Colin. It was a medical thing. You know that. I did it for us, for the baby." I turned, walked toward the door. She screamed after me. "Please," she sobbed. "I love you. I'll do anything." I opened the door, didn't look back. By the time I got home, I already knew I wasn't staying. I packed a bag, filled 2 boxes with clothes and essentials, and was halfway to my truck when I heard the tires screech up the driveway. Her dad, big man, red face, stormed out of the car like he was ready to throw hands. "You're a piece of crap," he barked. "You selfish, ungrateful—" I shut the truck door and turned to face him. "You get my daughter pregnant, then abandon her like a piece of trash?" Who the hell do you think you are? I think I'm the guy who just paid 60 grand to raise a baby that isn't mine. He stepped closer. You swore to love and protect her, in sickness and in health. And now you're running away like a little boy. No, I said cold. I'm walking away like a man who finally got tired of being used. Go to hell. Already been there, I said. Your daughter was the tour guide. He didn't respond. Just stood there, breathing hard, jaw clenched. I drove off without looking back. That night, Sophie's mom called me 3 times. Her aunt texted me that I was a disgrace. Her father left a voicemail I didn't bother listening to. Let them talk. I know what I saw. I know what I lived through. And I'm done explaining myself. At that day, I posted something on Facebook. Didn't name names, didn't rant. Just a quiet punch to the gut. Sometimes you think you're building a future with someone. Turns out you were just financing their performance. Lesson learned. I didn't expect much. Just needed to bleed somewhere. But the post spread fast. A few folks messaged me privately. Friends, coworkers, people who barely knew us but had always felt something off. And then came the message I didn't expect. A name I didn't recognize. Rachel M. Sophie's former colleague. Hey Colin, I saw your post, and I think there's something you should know. At first, I wasn't sure if I should respond, but something made me pause. We met at a coffee shop 20 minutes later. She was nervous, looking over her shoulder like she'd done something wrong just by reaching out. I debated even telling you, she said, holding her cup with both hands. But you deserved the truth. I didn't say anything, just nodded for her to go on. Sophie was fired, Colin. I blinked. What? She told you she left because of the pregnancy, right? I nodded slowly. Rachel gave a small, bitter laugh. Yeah, no, that's not what happened. She was asked to leave months ago. Why? There were complaints from parents, fathers of her students. Some of them claimed she was being inappropriate. I just sat there, staring at her, everything inside me going cold. Rachel looked down. I'm sorry, Colin, and she lowered her voice. Some people said she was offering money, asking them to help her get pregnant. I thanked Rachel for meeting me. She left quickly, like she'd already said too much, but I wasn't done. I texted her later that night. Rachel, I need one more thing. Do you know the names of any of the men? She replied after a pause. There were rumors, nothing confirmed, but yeah, I can give you a few names. Just please be careful. She sent me 4. That night, I looked them up, one by one. Every single one of them had a resume longer than my arm. Professors, researchers, engineers, think tanks, Ivy League diplomas, Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Columbia. They all looked like the same guy, just copy-pasted with different job titles. Tall, white teeth, good suits. Every profile shot looked like it was taken for Forbes. Then one of them stood out. Peter Mallory, biochemist from Princeton. Still had his wedding photos up, but the wife had disappeared from the more recent stuff. I checked the county court site. Yep, divorce finalized 6 weeks ago. I found his ex-wife on Facebook, Emily Mallory. She didn't accept my friend request, so I messaged her directly. Emily, I know this is out of the blue, but my name is Colin, and I think we were both lied to by the same woman, my wife. No answer that day. But the next morning, she wrote back, You've got 15 minutes, that's it. We met at a park near her office. She kept her sunglasses on the entire time. You're Sophie's husband? She said flatly. I am. She crossed her arms. Your wife destroyed my marriage. I'm not here to defend her, I said. She destroyed mine too. She hesitated. Her voice softened just slightly. All right, she said. Talk. I'm trying to understand what really happened. I heard Sophie offered your ex money to help her get pregnant. Emily let out a humorless laugh. You didn't know? I shook my head. She didn't just offer, Emily said. She paid him 10 grand up front in cash. I saw the withdrawal. My stomach flipped. So it's true, I said quietly. She was paying men to father her child? Emily finished. Yep. I stared at the grass between my shoes. She tell you she used a donor? Emily asked. That it was all anonymous and clinical? She did. Jesus. I looked back up at her. Would you be willing to testify? I'm filing for divorce, possibly fraud. She smirked. Oh, I'd love to. I've got the bank statements, texts. Hell, I still have the envelope she used. I exhaled. Thank you, I said. Emily pulled off her sunglasses just for a second. Her eyes weren't angry anymore, just tired. She's not stupid, she said. But She's dangerous when she wants something. I noticed. My hands were shaking when I got back in the truck. Nerve tremors, rage, shock. That kind of dead cold clarity that doesn't feel like clarity at all. Just buzzing in your ears and fire under your skin. 3 lovers, 3 payments. 3 times she looked me in the eyes and told me it was for treatment. 3 times I said okay. Because I loved her, because I trusted her, because I thought that I was building something real. $60,000. It wasn't for hormones. It wasn't for supplements. It wasn't for a chance at parenthood. It was to buy biological material from strangers, to buy her perfect baby. God. I sat behind the wheel, gripping it so hard my knuckles went white. My vision blurred like my body knew before my brain did. This wasn't rage anymore. It was heartbreak trying to crawl out of my chest. I pulled out of the lot, not even checking traffic. A red light flashed. I didn't see it. I rolled straight through the intersection and slammed on the brakes as a woman stepped into the crosswalk. Her arms flew up. She screamed. I swerved hard right, missed her by inches. My tires screeched. Another car, coming the opposite way, laid on the horn and veered to avoid me. I nearly clipped a mailbox. The truck jerked to a stop at an angle. My whole body was trembling. I sat there, breathing like I'd just come out of a crash. Because emotionally, I had. After a few minutes, I reached for my phone, and I started writing. I messaged every single member of Sophie's family. Group chats, private messages, her parents, her aunts, her cousins. You all think I left her out of nowhere. Think again. Sophie lied to me. She lied to all of you. She paid multiple men to get her pregnant. She used the money I gave her for fertility treatments to pay her lovers. The baby? Not mine. I sent screenshots, bank statements, voice memos from Emily, everything I had. Within minutes, the replies started. Her mom. You disgusting liar. You're mentally unwell, her dad. You're dead to this family. Her cousin. You'll regret this. Let them talk. Let them fume. I told the truth. A few hours later, I was in the garage changing out a water pump on a Chevy when I heard the screech of tires. Sophie. She burst into the shop like a storm in heels, red in the face, hair a mess, fury all over her. What the hell is wrong with you? She shouted. You told my family? You humiliated me? I stood up straight, wiped my hands, stared at her. What did you expect me to do, Sophie? Stay quiet and take it? You had no right. No right? I snapped. No right to speak after everything you've done? After you paid men to screw you behind my back while I was painting houses to fund your bullcrap treatment? She stepped closer, finger in my face. That was none of their business. It became their business the moment you let them believe I was the father of that baby. She hesitated, her face flushed with anger and something darker underneath. Then she looked me straight in the eye and said it. I wanted my child to have good genes, Colin, not your weak, stupid ones. Silence. The air went dead. I didn't say anything at first, just stared at her, jaw locked, heart pounding. Then I let out a breath and said quietly, You finally said it. What you've always thought. She opened her mouth like she had something cruel locked and loaded, and then suddenly grabbed her stomach. Her face went pale. She doubled over slightly. I froze. Sophie? I think something's wrong, she gasped. It hurts. I grabbed my phone and called emergency, told the dispatcher what was happening. When the ambulance came, I didn't ride with her, didn't follow them out. I just stood there, watching the taillights disappear down the road. She wasn't my wife anymore. And that baby wasn't mine. The next morning, I walked into my lawyer's office and dropped the folder of new evidence on her desk. Let's finish this, I said. Marla Reed didn't smile when she read the file I handed her. She just flipped through it, page by page, with the kind of calm that meant she'd seen worse, but not by much. When she finally looked up, her voice was sharp, direct. What do you want to do with her? I sat forward. My hands were steady now. The shaking had stopped. I want her gone. For good. I want the truth on paper. And I want consequences. Marla nodded once. Then we don't just file for divorce. We go bigger. She laid it all out while the air conditioner hummed behind her. First, the divorce. Fast, full disclosure, no more games. Then the civil suit for fraud. 60 grand under false pretenses wasn't just a lie. It was legally actionable. She said Sophie built an emotional narrative around a medical lie, and that made it personal and financial fraud. Then she added the emotional distress suit. Said the level of manipulation, letting me bond with a child that wasn't mine, was extreme, and we could fight for that too. And if there was any trace of misused medical channels or improperly recorded payments, she'd have no problem nudging it toward criminal charges later. I sat there taking it in, nodding, my jaw tight. Will she lose everything? I asked. If we do this right, Marla said, not blinking. Yeah, she just might. 3 weeks later, I sat in court and waited. Sophie showed up with a whole row behind her. Her parents, her older sister, and aunt. Even her college roommate, I think. All sitting tall, lips tight, ready to glare at me like I was the bastard who broke their golden girl. She looked smug when she sat down, like the army at her back was proof she was innocent. I sat with Marla. We didn't say a word. The judge took his seat. Papers shuffled. The bailiff called the case. Marla stood, calm and steady. Your Honor, we're prepared to move forward with testimony and exhibits. We have digital evidence, financial records, and a sworn affidavit from a third party. Sophie's lawyer, some gray-haired guy with a soft voice, tried to speak up. My client admits there were errors in judgment, but she never intended. Marla cut him clean. She took $60,000 under false pretenses. She claimed the funds were for fertility treatment. Instead, she arranged 3 separate private agreements, all off the books, to obtain reproductive material from other men. A murmur went through the courtroom. Sophie's mother whispered something to her husband. Her sister looked confused. Marla continued. We have messages between the defendant and one of the men in question, Dr. Simon Hayworth, indicating an emotional and physical relationship, including references to the unborn child as his. She handed the judge the packet. He read in silence. Then he looked at Sophie. Mrs. Palmer, I need to hear directly from you. Did you mislead your husband regarding the parentage of your child? Sophie cleared her throat. No, I didn't lie. I just didn't know how to tell him the truth. So you admit he is not the biological father? Yes, she said softly. Gasps behind her. Her sister shook her head. Her mother covered her mouth. The judge went on. And you paid these individuals directly in cash? It wasn't like that, she stammered. I was desperate. We couldn't conceive. I just wanted a baby. Marla stood again. Your Honor, we also have a signed affidavit from one of the men's ex-wives confirming a $10,000 cash payment and that the marriage ended as a result. He turned back to Sophie. Did you pay this man to help you conceive? I thought it was the only way, she said. Her voice cracked. Colin's genes, they weren't strong. I wanted the best chance for my child. I made a judgment call. Sophie's dad stood up. You what? He said, loud. He looked at her like she was a stranger. You lied to all of us? Dad, I didn't know what else to do. Her mother stood next, quiet, shaking her head. I can't watch this. They left together. Her sister followed 2 minutes later. Then the aunt, then the roommate. By the time Sophie tried to say something again, she turned around and realized the bench behind her was empty. She stood alone. When the judge finally ruled, his voice was calm. In light of the testimony, documentation, and the defendant's own admission, this court finds in favor of the plaintiff. He glanced down at the paper, then looked at me. Full divorce granted, immediate dissolution. Additionally, the defendant is ordered to reimburse the plaintiff in the amount of $68,450, including damages, verified transfers, and legal costs. Sophie went pale. The judge looked at her one last time. This court notes the severity of emotional manipulation in this case. You not only deceived your husband, but allowed an entire family to participate in the lie. He banged the gavel. That was it. Sophie didn't say a word. She just stood there, hand on her belly, completely alone, and watched the last good thing in her life walk out the back of that courtroom without looking back. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just walked out free. A month went by. I didn't think about her much, not on purpose. Life got busy again. The shop was steady, bills got paid, and for the first time in years, I was sleeping through the night. But people talk. You wouldn't believe how many folks around here know each other, or know someone who knows someone. The first one was a regular. Older guy comes in for oil changes like clockwork. He leaned on the counter and said, Hey, didn't your wife used to work at Roosevelt High? I gave a small shrug. Used to. He nodded, looked awkward. Shame what happened. Word is they're still not letting her back in. A lot of parents made noise. Later that week, another customer, mom of two, drives a white Subaru, brought it up while I was writing up her receipt. Sophie, right? I saw her at the pharmacy. She looks rough. I heard she's 8 months along and can't find work anywhere. Nobody'll hire her, not even for desk jobs, and her parents won't talk to her. I nodded and handed her the receipt. That's how it's been, piece by piece. Turns out Sophie's living alone in some rental studio, barely scraping by. Her savings are gone. She's not teaching. Nobody will touch her. She's applying for admin work, anything. But no one wants the scandal. She's 8 months pregnant, unemployed, alone, and from what I hear, she's still telling people it was all a misunderstanding. But hey, she got what she wanted, didn't she? The perfect child, with perfect genes. No father, no job, no friends, no family. But at least those genes are top tier. Some days I wonder if she still believes it was worth it. I don't.